We have a 2003 Ford Taurus. We're going to go through the steps in order to replace the fuel pump. Before doing any fuel system repair, bleed the pressure off the system using the pressure relief valve on the pressure gauge. Be sure and capture any residual fuel into a safe container. Disconnect the negative battery cable. In order to do a proper fuel pump replacement, we need to clean the inside of the tank, and that will require the removal of the tank. At the rear of the tank, disconnect the vent line and fuel filler hose. Disconnect the two emissions lines. At the front of the tank on the passenger side, disconnect the fuel line from the fuel filter. You will have residual fuel at the fuel filter. Be sure and capture this into a safe container. With the tank properly supported, remove the tank strap. Lower the tank slightly to gain access to the electrical connector. Completely remove the tank from the vehicle and clean the outside of the tank before removing the module assembly. With the outside of the tank thoroughly cleaned, we're ready to remove the module assembly. First, disconnect the fuel line, disconnect the electrical connection from the vent valve, remove the locking ring using a non-ferrous brass punch, turning it counterclockwise. Be sure to inspect the locking ring, making sure it's not damaged in any way that would hinder its reinstallation. As you remove the module from the tank, keep in mind that there will be some residual fuel in the reservoir at the bottom of the pump. Be sure and capture this into a safe container. At this point, we need to drain the remaining fuel into a safe container and then clean the inside of the tank. We want to be sure that the tank is as clean as possible to allow a clean environment for the fuel pump. With the inside of the tank thoroughly cleaned, we're ready to install the new Airtex module assembly. Install the new tank seal into its location in the top of the tank. As you lower the pump into the tank, be sure to align the locating tab on the flange with the recess in the top of the tank. With the module fully seated, reinstall the locking ring using a non-ferrous brass punch, turning the locking ring clockwise. Reattach the fuel line, reconnect the electrical connection to the vent valve, and reconnect the electrical connection. It's recommended to always change the fuel filter when replacing the fuel pump. With the fuel tank partially raised, reconnect the electrical connection. Fully raise the tank into position and reinstall the tank straps. At the front of the tank, reconnect the fuel line. At the rear of the tank, reconnect the emissions lines, the fuel filler line, and the vent line. With the repair complete, reattach the negative battery cable. Cycle the key 3 to 4 times in order to charge the system. Start the vehicle, monitor the pressure, making sure it's within vehicle specifications. Now before we remove our pressure gauge, we'll shut the vehicle off and bleed the pressure using our pressure gauge, making sure to capture any fuel into a safe container.